Do you ever feel like you're dating the same person over and over again, just wearing a different face? Same arguments, same silence after the fight, same feeling in your stomach when your phone doesn't buzz back fast enough. You break up, you swear it's over, you meet someone brand new, and somehow, 6 months later, you're standing in the exact same emotional room. Different wallpaper, same walls. Here's the question nobody answers honestly. Why? Is it bad luck? Bad taste in people? Or is something else running the show? Something you can't see from where you're standing? Stick around, because the answer isn't you're broken. It's something much stranger. Your brain is running an old program, and once you see the code, you can finally rewrite it. Psychologists have been studying this exact pattern for almost a century. It has names, it has mechanics. It is not mysterious once you know where to look. So let's treat this like a case file. 3 clues, 1 culprit. And I promise you, the culprit is not who you think it is. Clue number 1 starts before you could even talk. Back when your entire understanding of love was, does this giant person show up when I cry? Psychologist John Bowlby called this your attachment style. Think of it as a blueprint, not for a house, for love itself. And you didn't choose it, it was handed to you before you had any say. Depending on how your caregivers responded to you, that blueprint came out one of 4 ways. Let's look at each one. Gently, if your caregiver was consistently there, warm when you needed warmth, present when you were scared, you likely developed secure attachment. As an adult, intimacy feels safe. Independence feels safe too. No drama required. But if love showed up inconsistently, sometimes warm, sometimes distracted, sometimes gone, you may have developed anxious attachment. You learnt love had to be earned, chased, monitored. As an adult, silence feels like danger. If your needs were met with rejection or coldness, you may have developed avoidant attachment. You learnt the safest move was to need nothing from anyone. As an adult, closeness can feel like suffocation, and if the person who was supposed to comfort you was also the person who scared you, you may carry fearful attachment. You learnt love and fear come from the same source. As an adult, you crave closeness and run from it, sometimes in the same hour. Here's something that should take the shame out of this immediately. Researchers estimate that 40 to 50% of adults carry some form of insecure attachment. That's not a rare glitch. That's nearly half the room. So if you've been calling yourself broken, cross that out. You're not broken, you're wired. And wiring, unlike brokenness, can be traced. Which brings us to clue number 2. Here's the strange part of the human brain nobody tells you in school. It doesn't actually chase happiness. It chases familiarity. Given a choice between a relationship that's predictably bad and one that's unpredictably good, your nervous system will often pick the predictable one, even when the predictable one hurts. Why? Because your brain isn't a happiness engine, it's a prediction engine. Its number 1 job is not to make you feel good. It's to keep you from being surprised. Surprise, to a brain shaped by chaos, feels like danger. So if chaos, or coldness, or walking on eggshells was your childhood normal, a calm and steady relationship might not feel romantic at all. It might just feel boring. Or worse, wrong. Like something's missing. That jittery, can't eat, can't sleep feeling we call chemistry. Sometimes that's not a spark. Sometimes that's your old alarm system, quietly going off, mistaking anxiety for attraction. Now let's talk about why walking away from this feels almost physically impossible. This is clue number 3, and it has a name: intermittent reinforcement. Picture a slot machine. If it paid out every single time, you'd get bored fast. But if it pays out just often enough, rarely, randomly, unpredictably, you keep pulling that lever for hours. That's not weakness. That's how the reward system in your brain is built. Toxic relationships often run on this exact mechanism. A cold week. Then, out of nowhere, a burst of affection so intense it erases the cold week entirely. Studies show this unpredictable cycle activates the same brain pathways as cocaine and heroin. That's why just leave is such useless advice. You're not just leaving a person, you're going through something that behaves in your brain like withdrawal. But here's the deepest clue in this whole case, the one most people never find. We don't repeat these patterns because we want the pain again. We repeat them because some part of us is still trying to finish the story. A part of you is thinking, if I can just get this person who feels so familiar to finally stay, to finally choose me, to finally really see me, it will heal the very first time it didn't happen. Psychologists call this the unconscious hope. It's not a conscious decision. Nobody thinks, I will now select an emotionally unavailable partner to relive my childhood. It happens underneath, quietly, automatically. You meet someone who has that same distant quality your father had, or that same critical edge your mother had, and something in you lights up. Not because it's healthy, because it's familiar. And familiar, to that old wounded part of you, looks exactly like a second chance. The tragic twist is this. The very qualities that make someone feel like the one who can finally heal it are usually the same qualities that guarantee they won't. You picked someone incapable of giving you what you're asking for, precisely because incapable is what feels like home. Let's make this visual, because it explains everything at once. Picture a hamster wheel. On it, a person is running toward a glowing heart, but that heart is tied to a stick, attached to their own back. It moves exactly as fast as they do. It can never be reached. The fuel powering that wheel is hope, the belief that this time will be different. The spin comes from dopamine, the intermittent highs and lows, and the track itself, the shape of the whole loop, is the attachment blueprint drawn in childhood. Here's the moment everything changes. Not when the relationship ends, but when the runner looks down mid-stride and realizes, I am the one powering this wheel. Nobody is chasing me. I built this. Let's clear up a few myths while we're here, because blame loves to hide in the wrong place. Myth 1. I just have bad luck with people. No. This isn't luck. It's a predictable pattern, and predictable things can be studied and changed. Myth 2. If I just love them a little harder, they'll finally change. This belief is the engine of the entire trap. It's the grown-up version of a child trying to be good enough to finally earn a parent's attention. The fix was never about them. It was always about the wound underneath. And myth 3, the cruelest one. There is something fundamentally wrong with me. There isn't. This pattern was never a character flaw. It was a survival strategy, a brilliant one actually, built by a small child who needed to make sense of an unpredictable world. It simply outlived its usefulness, and now, here's the moment this whole case cracks open. In the United States, over 60% of second marriages end in divorce. For third marriages, it climbs past 70%. Read that again. The partner changed, completely. New name, new face, new city sometimes, and the outcome stayed exactly the same, which means the common denominator was never the other person. The common denominator was the blueprint, the one drawn in childhood, reinforced by a brain that prefers the predictable, and quietly protected by a hope that if you just try hard enough with the right familiar face, the old wound finally closes. You are not cursed to repeat this forever, but you cannot outlove, outfix, or outhope your way around a blueprint you haven't actually looked at. You can only redraw it, and redrawing starts with seeing it clearly, without flinching, and without blame. So what does redrawing actually look like? Not therapy jargon, just the honest first steps. Step 1. Notice the pull, that instant spark of familiarity, and get curious about it instead of trusting it blindly. Step 2. Name the pattern out loud, even just to yourself, because naming a thing takes away its disguise. Step 3, and the hardest one. Tolerate the discomfort of a relationship or a single that doesn't have the drama your nervous system mistakes for love. Secure love, when you finally experience it, often doesn't feel like fireworks at first. It feels quiet, steady, almost suspiciously calm. That calm isn't boring. That calm is what safety actually feels like, once your body finally learns the difference. Let's land the case file. Clue 1. Your attachment blueprint was drawn in childhood, before you had any choice. Clue 2. Your brain chases the familiar, not the happy. Clue 3. Intermittent highs and lows create a bond that behaves like addiction. And the deepest clue of all, the unconscious hope that this time, with this person, the old wound will finally close. None of this makes you weak or foolish or broken. It makes you a person who learned to survive love that wasn't safe, using the only tools a child has. The pattern was never proof that something's wrong with you. It was proof of how hard you were trying, even back then, to be loved. The wheel can stop. The blueprint can be redrawn, not overnight and not without discomfort, but it can be done. And it starts the moment you stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking what happened to me and what am I still running from. So here's the only question worth sitting with tonight. If you stopped running on that wheel, even for a moment, what would you actually have to feel? That answer, uncomfortable as it might be, is exactly where the healing begins.